Good evening, professional colleagues, friends, students, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to another edition of ICAN on Air. And coincidentally, today we are having the last edition for the second quarter in the year 2022. And great to be here once again. I want to believe that the previous episode has been very educative, very interactive, insightful, putting us in the right perspective. And we give kudos to our president and the governing council of our great institute for bringing up this educative section to equip our members on contemporary issues. And we are here today to do justice to another topic. Once again, I welcome you to ICAN on Air for today, Thursday, 30th June 2022. And without wasting our time, we'll go straight on to the topic of today. And we will be discussing the professional accountant and the VUCA space. I heard someone say VUCA, VUCA, VUCA. Yes, professional accountant in the vocal space. And we will be having more enlightenment on what vocal is all about and what are the expectations of professional accountant in the space as we proceed today. I will be guesting my wonderful brother, a professional colleague par excellence, no other person than Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, FCA. Who is he? He is the lead partner of AA Akiode and Co. Chartered Accountant, a small and medium practice S&P firm providing support for small and medium enterprise in diverse areas of reporting, consulting. He is a fellow of several professional bodies, including our own Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Taxation, the Chartered Institute of Banker, and full member of the Chartered Members Practitioner at the Nigeria Institute of Management. He holds practicing license for a great institute, ICAN, CITN, CIBN. He is a well-accomplished trader, and he has been tutoring, lecturing, and providing direction, increasing the knowledge base in several faculties. To crown it up, he is a member of the Executive Council of the Association of Sustainability Professionals of Nigeria, a member of the Corporate Governance Network group of the Institute of Directors, Center for Governance, Corporate Governance, and a member of the African Corporate Governance Network. That is our guest for today. But before I bring him on board, let me quickly go on a very short break. I will be back to discuss the professional accountant in VUCA space. Stay tuned. I will be back shortly.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized SEMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a SEMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the SEMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the SEMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Welcome back, and I welcome you once again to the last edition for the second quarter in the year 2022. And it's my pleasure to welcome on board our guest for today, Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, FCA, as we will be discussing the professional accountant in the VUCA space. Dr. Akinkunle, you're welcome, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheson. It's a pleasure to be here. And for me, I count it a great honor to be called upon to come interact with us on the subject matter. Doing anything for the Institute, for any of our both ACA and FCA, it's a great privilege. And I count myself privileged to be interacting with us on the subject of VUCA today. A very good evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akiode. We know you as someone who is passionate about our institute. Let's hit the ground running for today, talking about professional accountants and VUCA. I can hear my participants, listeners, viewers saying VUCA. Please, can you walk us through the historical background of VUCA? Is it an acronym? How do we come about it? And what does it stand for?
Thank you very much, Mr. Shesa. Of course, VUCA spells VUCA. So from that, you can almost detect that it's an acronym. It's actually an acronym for volatility, uncertainty for the U. The C is complexity, while the A is for ambiguity. So when you combine that together using the first letter in each, then you have the word VUCA. So that's the meaning of the acronym. But the word VUCA itself sincerely originated from the U.S. Army. After the Cold War in the 1980s, when the U.S. Army now observe, I'm talking about the strategies in the Army now, observe that we now have different types of enemy that shows up in different form. Some are clear, that you know that this is an enemy, while some come in very subtle way. So hence, the commander then frame it this way, that we are no longer up against a one big enemy, but we are also up against some other smaller enemies that could just, before you could say jack, they've appeared, done some devastating thing, done some disruptive thing, and before you could set up an investigation, recovery process, they are off and gone. So it's like something hits you like a boomerang, and you're surprised, and you are asking, how did it happen? What really happened here? Can we really explain it? This is what made them say, now this environment that we are operating in, it's so volatile. There is so much uncertainty surrounding it. It's complex, and you can't know the direction it's coming from, and it's at times ambiguous because you don't have a full understanding of it. And that was what originated the word VUCA. It's a VUCA world that we live in now. Thank
Brilliant,
you.
brilliant, brilliant. No other thing than that explanation. Because when I saw the topic myself, I was calculating within my brain, which other space are we operating for? I only know the Earth, planet, the Neptune, the other. Which one is this VUCA? But with the explanation, I know we now operate in a very volatile environment, an environment that is uncertain, that is complex and ambiguous. And as chartered accountant, I know so many of us know that this is the intake thing as we speak. But let me proceed with this question, Dr. Akiode. Some people think, from the little explanation you've given, that VUCA is only described in area of negativity. Can you share your view on this notion?
All right, good. You see, right from when the U.S. Army strategy came up with that word VUCA, and we observe that in the business world now things are really, really changing fast. How best can you describe our business world today? How else can you describe the work environment today? We can also see that, many things are volatile because they are changing rapidly. There are many uncertainties that betiles both the accounting profession and the business world. It could be complex because you are not dealing with one fundamental, you are not dealing with one parameter, but it's a combination of several parameters that while you are still studying one, another one spring up. So that makes it very, very complex. Ambiguity, you have not even understood one. And before you say, now we're told that any knowledge you have, by the time you are going to 5 years, you need to update that knowledge. But now I can almost tell you it's looking like every year now. And in the IT world, I can almost tell you every 6 months or every month, you need to update yourself because things are springing up. Does it mean that it's a negative? No, VUCA does not mean it has to be negative all the time. It could be positive too. A situation is so rapid, as in looking at the word volatile itself, the rate of change is high, and there is so much uncertainty. You can't really say specifically this is what will be the outcome. Hence, you can use what happened in the previous situation to judge what will happen here. It is uncertain. Complex because you are dealing with a number of parameters and you have not gotten full understanding of one, then another one begin to spring up. So it depends. It could happen negatively, it could happen positively. Once you are facing these parameters and you could bring it out, it's a VUCA environment. So VUCA is not actually describing a negative situation. It's only describing, or should I say, those adjectives that have been combined together to form that word. It could be negative, it could be positive. But I should warn you, don't mistake the one happening to the positive and take it to the negative, and you want to attack it in the negative way. Just watch what is happening. It's a description, it's not really a state. VUCA is a description of the situation, not really a state.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And I can support you with that. That sincerely speaking, we are operating in the VUCA space. Just 2 days ago, I don't know if you watch on this ICAN on air, we brought one of our guests talking to us about blockchain. And this is just something, cryptocurrency, that came
Yeah,
in not too long ago, distorting the flow of things and everybody shaking
you
up. So no other explanation than to
you
say, indeed, we are in the VUCA space, and as professional accountants, we should brace up. I can share this with you. Our institute itself is adapting to that. Gone are those days when our syllabus used to be every 5 years. Now we are updating it annually to keep up with the pace of things because we are in the vocal environment. Dr. Akiode, let
That's
me.
a big plus to the institute. That's a
Of
big plus.
course, of course. Our institute is always out there to stay in tune with whatever is going on and keep our members up to date. Let me proceed with this question to you, Dr. Akiode. As accountants, how do we identify situations in life that are on the VUCA side and those that are not on the VUCA side?
Now, if you listen to my last response, that could have answered this question to a great extent. A situation is on the VUCA side when the rate of change that you observe in that situation is very volatile. If it is surrounded with so much uncertainty, and the situation, the parameters you are dealing with is complex. Why ambiguous? By the time you are looking at a volatile, uncertain, and a complex situation, what next? There is some set of confusion setting there, so it will definitely be ambiguous. So whether it is happening positively or it is happening negatively, see, watch out for those adjectives that we have used earlier on. I give you a case in point. Yes, it's a regular thing when churches, there are a few churches that do annual general meeting now. There was a church I attended the annual general meeting, and you need to see how the income shot up very high. People were happy with the financials. Or how did we make some money? When did we, just before the exchange rate shot up, while the exchange rate was still as low as 100, 200 plus to a naira to a dollar, there is this very smart church treasurer that took the church investment. He actually invested them in dollars. And by the time the annual general meeting was coming, he took those investments in dollar. By then, we're already getting to 500 plus, a little above 500. And he converted them back from dollar to naira. Can you imagine the movement from 200 plus to a dollar to 500 plus to a dollar? And people started celebrating him the best treasurer of the year. I mean, the magic treasurer, because he simply multiplied the income of the church just by exchange rate fluctuation. On the positive side now, this is on the positive side because the church makes so much money. So watch it. And at times it could be negative too, because organization that has something to pay, payments to make, and could not pay when the exchange rate was at 200, if that debt in foreign currency still remain outstanding till now, you can imagine what kind of a trouble that organization, they're going to be paying so much. So I've just used the foreign exchange fluctuation to explain that on the positive and on the negative side. So watch out for the adjective. Is the situation volatile? Is the situation uncertain? Are there complexity involved, which will lead to ambiguity? Then you can identify that this is on the VUCA side. And a very good example is that our payment system is really on the VUCA side.
Great, Dr. Akiode. You can say that and say that again. We look at it from the positive side, look at it at the other side. The truth of it is, ICAN on Air is always an interactive session, and I want to say to our viewers, our listeners, that please bring in your question because Dr. Akiode is set to do justice to all of this. And I can see one question popping up as shown by our technical team there. Yeah, Yakubu is asking Dr. Akiode, what are the expectations from professional accountants to remain relevant in the rapid changing world? In quote, the VUCA space.
Fantastic question. That's an excellent question, Yakubu. Yakubu, I want you to stay with me to just, if you could grab your biros and a sheet of paper, just quickly write something down. In doing this, I have had to address this in a few accountants meeting, and that is you need to reinvent yourself. And I call them the 4R of reinventing yourself as an accountant. And what are those 4R? I'm talking about the first R is rethink. You need to rethink about your profession, about the profession, and about your career. How did you get to where you are now? What really did you set out to start doing? What really is your dream? You know, I have always used two of my friends to make examples, and I make bold to mention their name. Kolaraji, I mentioned Yomi, Yomi. From school, these guys have set up in their mind what they are going to. It was clear. He was just saying, I'm going into investment banking. Today, he is in investment banking at the FCMB Capital Market. I'm talking about Yomi is in corporate finance, and that is what he has always said in school. These guys set out, and what they set out to do, that is what they're still doing till now. The question is, I'm asking you, think about it. What did you set out to do? Are you still on track? How far are you from what you initially set out to do as an accountant, and where are you today close to it? You need to think and rethink again in reinventing yourself. The second R there is to refresh. You need to refresh your knowledge. I mean, take up some course. Again, during the pandemic, I took a course in financial fundamentals of accounting. Of course, I read that when I was doing my AAT exams. I read that when I was sitting for some other professional exam with the intention to pass the exam. But now that I'm a fellow of the institute, now I pick up a course of fundamentals of accounting. You can imagine what that looks to me. Well, it was a refresher for me, just reminding me of the principles of the debit and credit and how to set up a chart of account. And sincerely, it was really refreshing for me. Can you just go back, look at those things you started with, and look at how they apply to our world today? The third R, number 3R, that I'm telling you is to retool. To retool yourself. That is, arm yourself with new working tool. It's time for you to upgrade your Excel knowledge. Start using things like Power BI. Start using your pivot table. There is this particular group on our ICAN group where they post several shortcuts of Excel. What you type in one after the other, just with a few click of button, you get it done. You need to get some tools to quicken the way you do what. Can you digitize? Someone just told me, I want to have you come do something for us on this particular date in July. And I told him, excuse me, wait, let me get my diary. He said, don't tell me that. Must you get to your diary? Can't you do that on your phone? And I said, oh, well, I'm used to using that to set up my Zoom meeting, but say you can each set up manual meetings on it. Now, and I just did that, and it was fantastic. So you can also set up that on your phone. So your diary getting missed.
There seems to be a
The use
little
of
glitch.
online video conferencing,
Okay.
the use of several apps. There are apps online now that you can use to keep record. Do you know that you don't need to buy an ERP, a very massive, say, line 500 for your client? You can just download a View app, and with those apps, you can keep a small accounting record for them. So that is what I mean by retooling. Get into other skills, things that you need that is applicable to the work environment now. Now, let's go over the 3 R. I say you should rethink
Yeah.
yourself, refresh
Fresh.
yourself, and retool. Haven't done these 3, rethink, refresh, and retool, something is clear. The 4th R will naturally come out, and that is to what? Reposition. You will need to reposition yourself. Reposition yourself in the market, the type of people you put forward your product to, the type of market that you are in. For now, I believe that accountants should restructure your LinkedIn profile. You should. I don't expect that you should be the one using a 50 gig RAM size phone with a processing power RAM size of close to 8 to 16 phone, powerful camera, and all you could do with that is to receive phone calls and send text message. Man, that is a waste. That is a waste in your hand, under massive underutilization of that equipment that you are holding called a multimedia phone. So you need to use those things to put what you're doing out there for everyone to see. So Yakubu, you rethink yourself, you refresh yourself in what you've learned, you retool by arming yourself with more tools applicable to what we're doing now, and that will lead you to reposition yourself. I like someone before we wrap up this to just return those 5 R to me. Then I'm sure that you are all following me in this session. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dr. Akiode, not a better one. It seems Yakub provokes you to give us the big thing that lies in VUCA, and that is the 4R: rethink, refresh, retool, and that will definitely reposition you, even in this contemporary world called
Definitely.
VUCA space. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, and I'm sure you've done justice to Yakub's question. And it's only not for Yakub. Other people have learned that as professional accountants, you must rethink, you must refresh yourself, you must retool, and that would definitely reposition you. Let me go back to our question, and I'll pick you up on this. There is a new terminology called VUCA. That is VUCA. We are still battling with it. From your intro, you said volatility. We are still talking VUCA. Now we are adding D to it to make it VUCA. Can you shed more light on this? How is it different from VUCA? Now we have VUCA and we have VUCA. Please shed more light on this.
Okay. I know you are struggling to make the D come out, the pronunciation of the D come out there.
Sincerely speaking, I just have to dictate it.
Plus the movement on your chair to let me know it was really a struggle. Now, yes, we're dealing with VUCA, VUCA, but the D that was introduced is basically to introduce or to include the disruption that is going on. There is regular disruption going on everywhere. Disruption, and this came about through the introduction of the disruptive technology that is going on. A very good example is the blockchain that you just had, that we had last week, that was discussed on this platform. Look at how much blockchain has changed our world, how much interaction could take place, how much you could really verify in fixed asset verification. Look, with a blockchain technology, see, I don't need to run after you again to verify your fixed asset. With a fixed asset register that is blockchain run, I can just go to the blockchain and extract that information there, because you cannot, and this is one very fantastic thing blockchain has brought to us, you cannot alter anything there without the knowledge of everyone. I'm wondering how much people you will need to gather to be able to alter anything on the blockchain. Man, whoever can do that, now I think God is the only one that can do that at this time. It's not really visible. And that has really brought so much disruption to the asset verification. What about stock take? stock take. Now we could send what do you call this online, someone will need to remind me that the
Drone.
drone,
Drone.
thank you. You can now send drone to take stock take for you, and just by beaming the light on the barcode, they can do the stock take for you. So look at how fast that testing of transaction could be. Before, what we do is sampling in audit, because you cannot try the entire transaction. But with the introduction of artificial intelligence and robotic process automation, you can do 100%. I tell you, you can do 100% test, because this will happen in a short while. Yeah, the what do you call it? Contract robotic process automation that can read through a contract that would take a senior partner, a senior manager to read within a week or two. Do you know that those contracts can be read within few minutes now, because you run it through the robot, and immediately it's out to give you the reports there. What are the things that has changed in the contract you have been given now as opposed to what you were being given before? So the disruptive technology, the disruptive entrance of artificial intelligence, of robotic process automation, of blockchain technology, of the mixture now, when two of them begins to combine together and they begin to extract information from the big data, man, the rate of change is amazing. Is amazing.
Awesome.
So we can't ignore the disruption that they have brought into the entire world. That is why we had to add the D to the VUCA. We now talk about the VUCA D world. I hope that answers your question.
Seriously, you have actually put that to bear by putting in the right perspective what D has to do. Now we are not just talking about VUCA alone; we are talking about VUCA with the disruption that has actually come on board. Like I said, it's always been an interactive session. I have a question from Dr. Abel as saying, and he's asking, some entity watch things happen while some others make things happen. How can scenario building assist the former entity overcome in the vocal world?
Fantastic. Dr. Abel is saying special greetings to you from me here. It's an honor to have you on this call. Now, what can we do? Well, with artificial intelligence, you can almost paint 101 scenario for something. And I think that is what AI has come to do, and that's scenario painting. Because where we were operating manually, you had finished painting a scenario, and before implementation day, see, technology has overtaken what you prepared. Then you are asking. You can imagine a budget that was prepared on 350 naira to $1. How is that budget run now that we are almost at 600 naira to $1? You know that has changed entirely. Now the question is, if you have an artificial intelligent app that quickly just help you to change the exchange rate, is going to repaint the scenario to you, and this can happen in few seconds. So you need to arm yourself with CRM, customer relation software. You need to update yourself with all this artificial intelligence built up. As the situation and the parameters are changing, you just key in those variables and have different scenario being painted to you, so that you will be up and running. The world is not going to stop changing. It's going to be changing, and you need to arm yourself with application, automated system that can almost update itself almost immediately, restructure the whole thing based on certain parameter that you will supply to it. So those old formal organizations should leave the brick and mortar accounting. They should not go into automated accounting. You know, we've been saying it, and it's getting closer to me every day, that one day we'll wake up and Google is going to come up with something that supply your information to us, and we will come out to you with your statement of financial position, your statement of comprehensive income, your statement of changes in equity, your statement of cash flow, and we will also produce a note to your account. Don't be surprised when that is going to hit us soon. And that is just telling you that they are up and running with present reality. Tell the former organization to wake up to the present reality, Dr. is saying, and it will pay them
Thank,
for it. Thank you.
thank you very much, Dr. Akiode. You can say that again with the way Google is actually transforming things. By the time you punch some things, they tell you the food you ate last night, the one you are preparing to eat now. And you'll be asking yourself, how do they monitor to know who I am? This VUCA, what we did is actually giving us a lot of things. My guest today has been no other person than Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, throwing light to us on what VUCA is all about. Not just that alone, adding D, which is destruction, to now make it VUCA. I don't know, by the time we wake up tomorrow, I don't know the other acronym you'd have had to the VUCA that we are just learning today. And we have been throwing questions, and our guest has been asking. But I want to ask our viewers to please stay on. We'll quickly go on a very short break, and I'll be back to continue the discussion with our guests. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
All right.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized SEMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a SEMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the SEMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study Exam. Start studying the SEMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the ICAN on Air, powered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, a Noble Institute. And I have been guesting Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, FCA, who have been doing justice to the new world where we belong to now, VUCA, VUCA. And not too long while we are discussing, he decided to disrupt it again by adding D to it. And he has explained to us, VUCA It's just out there because we're talking about a volatile environment, an uncertainty environment, complex one, ambiguous. And not too long, he added again that the disruptive technology has come to talk about this. And while we're proceeding, he explained to us that as professional accountants, we do something, and he gave the 4 hours. What are the 4 hours for? He said you should rethink where you're starting from. Where are you now? And also refresh yourself. He gave an instance of him going to do a principle of accounting that we did there with Frank Wood and the likes to refresh himself. You have to retool. Look at those things that will assist your business, and that will definitely reposition you. Dr. Akikule, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you. As a VUCA compliance anchor, I can tell you that I am definitely vocalizing what we are doing today. And I can see Dr. Lariwaju sharing his experience to say, VUCA world is here and it's real. What factors should organizations consider in putting up long-range plan? Can they still plan for 5 years or make it a short term?
Okay. Fantastic question, Dr. Larry Waju. And yes, I also send my special greetings to you. It was nice at the, what do you call it now? At the investiture ceremony we had on Saturday. Now, Dr. Larry Waju, something is clear here. Just like I responded to Dr. saying, long-range plan now needs 24 hours surveillance. 24 hours surveillance, because once the parameters you use, all your plan, they are based on certain parameters, certain fundamentals. Obviously, once the fundamentals change, the outcome automatically should change. If you don't want to dwell in a fool's world, let me take you back to the foreign exchange one I made. Or, I mean, you're talking about before there was a time where there was a ban on importation of rice to our country. Now, if you are in that business, the number of revenue you are hoping to generate from rice for that year, definitely you can no more meet that target. Any other rice that come, imported rice that come, possibly come through an unlawful avenue to your organization. So forget about the profit or the revenue you have planned for that period of time. Now, another example is, permit me to talk about our national budget. We have calculated that we are expecting, case in point, 150,000 barrels on a daily basis. And we've used that, multiply that at a particular exchange rate to $1. And we've used that to calculate the upper part of our budget, the revenue side. Expense side, nothing is going to change that. All the expenses are there, both the recurrent and the capital expenditure. Now, one thing we don't do is taking into cognizance those ones that are lost to oil pipe vandalization. When there is an oil pipe vandalization, definitely that has reduced the number of barrels you are expecting for that day. And this can continue for a month or two. And we're still in the calculation of 150 barrels, 150,000, when in actual fact, we are not getting 150,000 barrels per day. There are some that are lost to smuggling too. Some of it has been smuggled out of the country. And so the number of what we project that we're going to make per day is not actually what we are getting. So that budget is to fail from the beginning. It's not likely to, definitely going to go into deficit. And to worsen it off is when we have said we're going to sell at this number of dollars with this exchange rate, and the exchange rate go vice versa. And now we're exchanging more naira for $1. So you see, it just mess up the whole budget. And I feel this is what our planning committee should be doing. And they need to go VUCA now. They need to be up and running with present information, adjust them accordingly to reflect present reality. And
You
this
can
cannot,
say that again.
you cannot do a 2-year plan and go to sleep. May I shock
None.
you? Even if you
None.
do a 1-year plan, you can't go to sleep. You need to keep
Yes.
surveillance on that 1-year plan. And the reason is because as the fundamentals
Change.
upon which you made those plans change, your plan should change accordingly if you're going to be sincere with yourself.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. I'm sure you've done justice to that question by Dr. Olanrewaju. As a VUCA compliance anchor, I can tell you, as a professional accountant, if you are VUCA in nature, the best place to place your advert is ICAN on Air, because this is a vocal institute that is actually moving with the dynamics of things. So I encourage you, professional colleagues, bring your advert, even for us on ICAN on Air. And I can assure you that we'll definitely put it in the vocal space where your product will receive the vocal touch, and it will give you a vocal return that will bring vocal profit for you to grow as an institute. Dr. Akikule, I'm still with you. You know, this vocal is
You
vocalizing me.
practically
Yes.
vocalize the institute. I said
So
you are
let me take this.
practically vocalize the institute.
Yes, yes. Let me state this so that you assist us with this. You see, the relevance of VUCA in accounting profession, from what you have explained to us, is key. Can you please just tell us, educate our viewers? You said it, but I want you to re-emphasize it. What
Yeah.
a VUCA. Let me now add the D. VUCA compliance accountant should be made of.
Well, a VUCA compliance accountant now need to come out of his or her shelf and be ready to be vulnerable. You need to take risk, and risks that are calculated. Now, never forget the 4R that I mentioned. You rethinking your steps, where you're coming from and where you're going to, how far away you are from there, the resources you have on hand. You need to do a lot of rethinking, refresh your knowledge on what you have done in the accounting space, and also retool, arm yourself with other tools that are relevant to the now. And I've talked about the one that are peculiar to the accountant. See, go online. You could go online, update yourself on what artificial intelligence. It could be as simple as you just type artificial intelligence and the modern day accountant, accounting and AI. Type it on Google and see. And if you're not satisfied with that, you can go on YouTube. In fact, I want to advise you to go on YouTube. Type it on YouTube and see some things come out. It's time for you to start using your data to do something constructive, rather than using it on Facebook, chatting out time with people, and possibly watching home videos that you could watch on other devices on your phone. Just type it. AI, robotic process automation, type it there and update yourself. You need to upskill yourself now as an accountant. Now, the fundamental things in accounting. Allow me to go back into Frank Hood now.
Go
And
ahead.
definition of a we all wrote it in 80 then, and maybe a little part of our professionals when we started. That was our time, not the ones working with IFRS now. You said that accounting is the gathering, the summarizing, the analyzing, and you summarize accounting information for the purpose of reporting in order to aid decision making. Now, you can just begin to pick each of those words one after the other. Pick them, get information gathering, and the accountant. Type it on YouTube and read what it is. So, what we were doing manually during the Franco days, can you know the automated process of doing it now on YouTube? Gathering, summarizing. Power BI has been known as a powerful device. It's an extension of Excel. And let me demystify something to you. You hear them talking about accounting software. I've dealt with quite a number of them. I've dealt with Sage Line 50. I've dealt with the ERP model. I've dealt with what you call Peachtree in the days of Peachtree. I've dealt with SAP. I've dealt with Oracle. And I could summarize something. Then I worked in a company, an engineering company that were using Sun. We use Sun 5, Sun 4 at some point, then Sun 5. Then we have different data reporting systems. All of them, they are operating on something, and that is Excel. They are all operating on Excel. Each of them has a SQL server operating backend. What you are seeing at the front end is just user, user graphic.
User
interface graphic that you see there, that they put a button there just for you to remember what the old programmer memorized code to do. Those code has been put behind a button, and a button that is user friendly has been put there for you to just click on, and straight away it does what the coding could do for that accountant. So type the basic traditional accounting function and watch on YouTube what is the application or the disruptive technology taking the place of that now. Once you are done with that, just go and arm yourself with those tools. That's what the accountant needs to be doing now. In the list of professions that is gradually fading out, and you might not see in the next 5 to 10 years, accounting and auditing is one of them, and is at the topmost, is at the first 4, 5 of them. Like I made in a presentation, and very soon you might not hear that word. Doesn't mean accountants are useless. No. You still have, we are still needed to draw up a proper chart of account, to draw up what compound entries are. A debit here is going to result to multiple credits in a number of places. How actually do you structure a chart of account to be able to take care of componentization, for an example, where you depreciate different component parts of an object, and the addition of it is what you then charge into the income statement. How are you going to do that? And you're going to still report that into the accumulated depreciation that you will deduct from the historical cost to get the next book value. You will test this for impairment from time to time. You need to know what device, what technology is being used to do that now. Then you need to arm yourself with it. So don't throw the traditional accounting away, but you need to know what is the modern technology today that is playing that role, and you need to go and learn that. That's what the accountant.
Brilliant, Dr. Kiode, brilliant. You see, one thing about it, I've said it over and over, time is not always our friend. I know if I leave you on this call for the next 3 hours, you are out to just give it to us what the VUCA space is actually, all about, and what the professional accountants needs to just plug into. But I want to believe that our members are actually tapping several things on the things that they need to know. If not for anything, the 4 hours is out there for us to do. As we are coasting home, Dr. Kiode, because I can see my backend team giving me the clips. In 1 minute, as your parting shot, on this subject matter of VUCA, what will you advise us as professional accountants?
Well, my clear advice to you, everyone, online today is please don't forget those 4R. Rethink yourself now. Go do some refresher courses, refresh your skill, your knowledge, and rethink. A combination of your rethinking and your refreshing will lead to a total reskilling of yourself. Once you're reskilled, then you are set for repositioning yourself as accountant. Be conversant with modern technology. It's what we need now. We've left the brick and mortar accounting. We are now in a tech driven world. Be careful and learn good habits. Good habit. Your attitude matters a lot. Many people could have gone far, but having a wrong attitude is what has held them back then. Then manage your time very well. Invest it. Those times spent online doing unnecessary watching videos that could add nothing to you but fun. It's time you invest in it in taking course. I mean, go to Coursera, go to the Open University. Go take courses there and learn this thing. They are online on YouTube. They are online on the Facebook. You could get PowerPoint. Just type whatever you want to type, .ppt or .doc, or even go to the YouTube. Type it and learn this thing. Invest your data well. Avoid as much of this destruction that is going on. Learn and update yourself constantly. As the world is constantly changing, you need to be constantly changing too. And I hope to meet you at the top. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Akinkunle Akiode, who have been guesting on the show today, talking about the professional accountant in the VUCA space. We started with VUCA, and we are concluding with VUCA, adding the D to the description. And like I said, for VUCA compliance accountant, the place where you need to display your goods and services is no other place than ICAN on air. And sincerely speaking, I want to appreciate Dr. Akin Kunle Akiode, FCA, for making our time to come and educate our members on the contemporary issues. You cannot get it any other place, my professional colleagues, than ICAN on air. And this will feature every Tuesday and Thursday on all our social media handles, namely Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We are all there every Tuesday and Thursday between the hours of 6 and 7. That is one of the things that VUCA has brought. You must learn. Remember the hours. You must rethink. You must refresh. You must retool and definitely reposition yourself. I remain your anchor, which today I can refer to myself as VUCA anchor, with the operating in the VUCA space. I'll be with you again on Tuesday, the 5th day of the month of July. By then, we'll be rolling into another quarter, and I can assure you something is in the cook that you will not want to miss. I say stay safe and continue to develop yourself. I see you next week, Tuesday, by the special grace of God. I remain Olusesan Okwade, FCA. Till then, stay tuned, rethink, retool, refresh, and definitely you will be repositioned. Bye for now.